The roar of engines fell silent. The steady stream of 18-wheelers, once a constant pulse of New York City life, dwindled to a trickle. The city that never sleeps found itself facing a new kind of nightmare, a trucker boycott. The reason? A perfect storm of economic pressures had finally reached its breaking point. Toll hikes, a controversial legal case involving the Trump Organization, and shrinking profit margins had brought the trucking industry to its knees. The toll increases, meant to bolster city infrastructure, cut deep into the already thin margins of independent truckers. These men and women, the lifeblood of the city's supply chain, found themselves squeezed from all sides. The Trump case, while seemingly unrelated, cast a long shadow over the industry, highlighting the precarious legal ground on which many truckers operated. The case involved allegations of tax evasion and fraud, sending a ripple of fear through the trucking community. The situation was dire. Truckers, faced with mounting costs and legal uncertainties, decided to make a stand. They refused to haul goods into the city, effectively cutting off the flow of essential supplies. Grocery stores, restaurants, and businesses, large and small, braced for the impact. The city that never sleeps was about to experience a rude awakening. The boycott was a desperate gamble, a last-ditch effort to draw attention to the plight of the trucking industry. The truckers knew the city relied on them, but they also knew they were often overlooked and undervalued. The boycott was a way to say, "We are here and we matter." The city, accustomed to instant gratification and seamless logistics, was about to learn a hard lesson about the true cost of convenience. The impact was swift and severe. Grocery store shelves, once overflowing with abundance, began to look sparse. Fresh produce dwindled, replaced by empty spaces and out-of-stock signs, the staples of daily life. Milk, bread, eggs became harder to find. Prices, already on the rise, began to climb even higher as the scarcity of goods took hold. Restaurants, dependent on daily deliveries of fresh ingredients, scrambled to adapt. Menus were pared down, portions shrank, and prices soared. The once vibrant culinary scene of New York City, known for its diversity and abundance, faced an unprecedented crisis. The city that could seemingly conjure any dish at any time was suddenly forced to confront the limits of its own supply chain. The economic strain rippled outward. Businesses, large and small, felt the pinch as the flow of goods slowed to a crawl. Construction projects stalled as building materials failed to arrive. Retailers struggled to replenish their inventories, leading to lost sales and frustrated customers. The city's economic engine, fueled by the constant movement of goods and services, began to sputter. The human cost was even more profound. Families struggled to put food on the table as prices climbed beyond their reach. The elderly and vulnerable, reliant on regular deliveries of essential medications and supplies, faced uncertainty and fear. The city's social safety net, already stretched thin, was pushed to its breaking point. The trucker boycott, intended as a wake-up call, had exposed the fragility of the city's existence. The trucker boycott threw into sharp relief the often invisible role truckers play in the life of a city. These men and women, crisscrossing the country in their massive rigs, are the unsung heroes of modern urban life. They are the ones who ensure that grocery stores are stocked, restaurants can serve their customers, and businesses can operate. They are the vital link in a complex and often fragile supply chain. The boycott forced city dwellers to confront a simple truth. Their way of life depends on the hard work and sacrifice of truckers. The convenience of online shopping, the abundance of choice at the grocery store, the ability to summon any type of food with a few taps on a smartphone, all of it relies on the trucking industry. The boycott served as a stark reminder that these conveniences are not guaranteed, and that the people who make them possible deserve to be treated with respect and fairness. The trucking industry, despite its vital role, is often characterized by low wages, long hours, and difficult working conditions. Truckers spend days, even weeks, away from their families, navigating congested highways and battling fatigue to deliver the goods that keep the city running. They are the backbone of the economy, yet they often operate on the margins, struggling to make ends meet. The boycott was a cry for help, a plea for recognition and fair treatment. It was a reminder that the people who keep the city alive deserve to be valued, not exploited. The city, in its moment of crisis, was forced to confront the human cost of its own consumption. The boycott, while disruptive and painful, served as a catalyst for a long overdue conversation about the importance of trucking and the need to ensure the well-being of those who keep the wheels turning. The NYC trucker boycott marked a turning point, a crossroads for the trucking industry. The issues it brought to light, rising costs, legal vulnerabilities, and the shrinking profitability of trucking demanded attention and action. The future of the industry, and by extension the smooth functioning of urban life, hinged on finding solutions to these pressing challenges. The boycott served as a wake-up call for policymakers, industry leaders, and the general public. It highlighted the need for policies that support truckers rather than burden them. It underscored the importance of addressing the legal complexities that can trap truckers in a web of regulations and liabilities. And it emphasized the need to ensure that trucking remains a viable and sustainable profession, capable of attracting and retaining skilled workers. The boycott also spurred innovation and adaptation within the industry. Companies began exploring new technologies and logistical strategies to improve efficiency and reduce costs. The use of artificial intelligence, autonomous driving systems, and optimized routing algorithms gained traction as potential solutions to some of the industry's challenges. The crisis, while disruptive, also served as a catalyst for progress. The boycott forced a reassessment of the relationship between cities and the trucking industry. The interdependence of these two entities, often taken for granted, was thrown into sharp relief. The need for collaboration, for a more equitable and sustainable partnership between cities and truckers, became increasingly apparent. The boycott, while painful in the short term, had the potential to lead to a more resilient and mutually beneficial future for both parties.